This is a Fulcrum Technologies screencast.
In this screencast, we're going to go through the file management page, where most of our time will be spent when using Amplify. The file management page can be accessed via the tab at the top of the page here, and it's also the default landing page when you open up Amplify and log in. In the left sidebar here, you can see a variety of different subsections to the file management page. First of all, we're going to go through our My Folders section. Now, it's important to understand that the My Folders section is where the content that you are uploading and creating is going to be saved. This is not viewable by other users unless you explicitly choose to share it with them or add them as a collaborator. This is your content that you are uploading to the platform. You can create new folders into which you can upload new content with this icon here in the left-hand sidebar. This will prompt you to name the folder. Once a folder has been created, you can go inside of it and upload some content. Down here on the left-hand side, you can see the amount of storage space and the number of upload hours that have already been used within your organization. Hovering over each of these indicators will pop up tooltips to provide a more detailed indication of how much storage or upload hours are left for the remainder of your agreement, and even shows a rough prediction of the number of hours that may be used over the course of the year. Over here in the table view, we have all of the available folders that I have created myself. You can sort these by clicking on the table headings or by clicking in the drop-down menu at the top of the page. You can also search for a folder by name in the search bar up here. This will filter out all other folders that do not match the string entered in the text box. Right-clicking on a folder or clicking on the three dots, Actions, Menu will present a few different options, including the Rename feature. Pressing Rename allows users to edit the name of folders directly in the inline text editor. In the Actions menu, you can also delete your folders and share or add collaborators, but we will cover these points in a later video. Further along the table view, you can also see the total size of the content that is contained within that folder, the date this folder was last edited, and the owner of the file, or in other words, the name of the original folder creator. A handy tip to remember as well is that across any page in the Amplify web platform, down the bottom here we have this Items per Page section where we are able to choose the number of rows per page and also navigate between different pages. The great thing about this feature is that it will remember the last use setting for rows per page, dependent on what area of the platform you are viewing. In other words, I can customize my viewing experience so that the file management folder view shows me 100 rows per page, but in group management, I may want to see 50 rows per page, and when viewing files within a folder, I may only want to see 10 rows per page, and so on. Now let's go inside of a folder. We can click anywhere within this grey bar to access the folder and its content within. Once we're inside the folder, we will see all of the files that have been uploaded to that folder. You can upload new content by clicking on the Upload Content button in the left-hand sidebar. We will go through that in a later video. You can still sort your files list, the same way you can in the My Folders section, either via the drop-down menu here or by the name of each column. As you can see, each file has a thumbnail and then has an icon next to it, which shows an indication of the file type. That icon corresponds with the icon for either a timeline or a composer from our desktop editor. Angles. This icon here shows that this file is a composer that was uploaded from Angles, whereas this icon here shows that it is a timeline that was uploaded from Angles. You can also upload movie files directly. These will show up in Amplify with the timelines icon beside their name. You may also notice in some folders that the color of these icons may be different. If there is a light blue timeline icon, it indicates that this timeline is a reference timeline that is tied to another already uploaded timeline. This means that users can have different data in their timeline whilst utilizing the same video file, saving storage space on Amplify and preventing the need and time required to re-upload the video file all over again. As we look across the table view, we can see the size of the video and the date it was uploaded. You will notice that reference timelines will all be significantly smaller in size than an uploaded timeline. Across the top here, you can also filter to show only already uploaded files, or files that are considered what we call a draft. A draft is a file that is in a partial state of upload, so it could be resumed at a later date. We will go through that in another video. Once again, across here, we've got the Actions drop-down menu, and we can rename files in the same way as we do folders by clicking here. We can also share files at both a file level or at the folder level. Once again, this will be covered in a later video. You can also delete files, and one that we haven't seen in the folder menu is we can also press this Move To button. This will bring up a pop-up menu where you can choose to shift this file to a different folder in your My Folders content section. This will save you having to re-upload a file if you accidentally save it to the wrong folder. To view a file, you simply click anywhere in the grey bar here, and it will open up the video player. We're now going to move on to the Shared With Me section. To access the Shared With Me content, we click here in the left-hand sidebar. The Shared With Me content is all files and folders that have been shared with me by other users from within my organization. As you can see, the owner of the original file is displayed here in the table view, and the level of access that they have granted you is also shown. If there is a blank space in the Permissions section of the table, this means that the individual files within the folder were shared with different levels of access, and so the folder itself does not have a level of permission that was granted to you. There are two different file icons that can be seen in this view, the folder icon and a light blue composer icon. This is because users can either share an entire folder they have created and uploaded content into with you, or they can share an online composer which they have created and added clips to from other uploaded content. Online composers do not live inside folders and are shared with users or groups directly. Each of the folders in this page can be accessed by clicking in the grey space of the row, and if we do just that, you will see a list of all the files that are inside the folder that have been created and uploaded by another user, and then shared to you for viewing. In this view, once again, you can sort the files by clicking on the heading of each column, or by opening up this Filters menu. In this pop-up menu, we can see all of the sorting options again, but we can also filter for particular file types or by levels of permission. By clicking in the Content Type drop-down, we are able to determine whether to show all files and folders that have been shared with us, or to only show online composers, or only show full folders. In the Sharing Permissions drop-down, we are able to filter out content depending on what tier of permissions we were granted by the owner. You may have also noticed in the Shared With Me section, you can only reshare some content, and some files have the share icon greyed out. This will be dependent on the level of access that has been granted to you by the original owner. If you have anything above Comment, Create, and Reshare permissions, we will be able to share this file with other users by clicking on the share icon here. Now let's come back to our Online Composers section. We briefly touched on online composers a moment ago, but it is important to understand the difference between an online composer and a composer that was uploaded from Angles. When I flick across to the composers that were shared with me, I am talking about the online composers that other users have created. An online composer differs from an uploaded Angles composer in that it does not have a physical existence outside of on-the-web platform. It is referencing other content that was uploaded, and is then created from that content. So, an online composer does not sit within a folder. It belongs to a user as they have created it from either their own folders and files that they have uploaded, or from content that was then shared with them. Let's go have a look inside the My Online Composers tab. As you can see, there are no folders because these are all the online composers that I have created from content that was shared with me or I uploaded myself. Once again, we have all of the same abilities in sorting and searching. We can see the file size and we can click into the grey space to access the content. You will notice that once again, the composer icon is a light blue colour, which differs from the uploaded composer in the My Folders section. This indicates that these online composers are in fact reference files and do not contain video themselves, but are referencing other video that has already been uploaded to the platform. We can share online composers directly from this Share button here, and by doing so, we'll send this online composer to appear in the Composers section of the Other Users Shared With Me tab. Organization admins may notice another tab inside their sidebar called All Content. This tab simply displays all content that has been uploaded or created on Amplify within your organization. This can be used for administrative duties, such as deleting obsolete files to save storage space, or for viewing comments or reply threads on files that have not been shared with you directly, as a way of overseeing interactions between other users within your organization. The Sort and Filter section on this page works very similarly to the Shared With Me filter section, with the added benefit of being able to filter in or out particular users, so you can monitor content that has been created by certain people. Finally, some users may see the Parent Folders section appear in their sidebar. This section contains content that was uploaded and then distributed to your organization by a parent organization. Once again, we will cover this in more detail in a later video.